This is session 1898,
Right.
the seventh session with AKM. This is December 7th, December 6th, 86. All right, then the sound is comfortable for you, and we've come to time for affirmation. We always join together on that in mentally. And then whatever other preparatory processes you use to take yourself into Focus 10, let me know when you feel you're in a nice, comfortable Focus 10 level.
All right. I'm truly relaxed, and so I'm ready to travel from there.
Okay. We'll just then ask you to release everything. Let your consciousness now go expanding in all directions. Take yourself or be taken through all the levels, and report to me any changes that occur in your perceptual screen, your thought flow, or your experience in any way.
Yes.
I'll wait to hear from you. Are you ready?
Yes, and I'm making the commitment to report because it's so easy not to. So it's a reminder to myself.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you. Yes, I'm here.
I desire to speak.
Well, I welcome you, and I desire to hear from you.
I am filled with the love and the desire, and I seek expression.
Can I help in this process?
I wish to share the love and the joy that has been made known to me. To pass on to others. That which has been given to me. I ask those energies which have not been made known conscious to me yet, now flow through the essence of my being, and let themselves be made known.
It is our desire to share this with you and to receive and cooperate with you. Can you tell me, Anne, what you are experiencing? What is it like where you are?
I've been having difficulty having any sense of being anywhere. Before Marie started talking, there was a sense of counting myself further and further out, and on one level knowing that there was a greater sense of out, but feeling still very much connected and grounded, like a part of me was out, but a part of me was very much here. I refused to go into frustration, but just rather relaxed into unknowing. I had a sense of that kind of duality or that split when Marie started talking, knowing that, I couldn't hear her and the curiosity was there, and yet wanting to maintain an open, available state of trust, whether my ears could hear the words or not.
I see. You weren't able to understand what she was saying.
Not at all.
The voice was saying that it felt a strong desire, that it was joined with you, that it was speaking as you, with a strong desire to speak, to share the love and the joy that has been made available to me. I'm filled with desire of what has been given to me to give to others. That was the gist of the message. You think it would help any to, if I reduced the volume of sound in your earphones, if you just floated there, and would you be more likely to hear what she says?
We could try that.
I'll just lower it a bit. I don't know if there'll be further speaking or not. And you can just focus all your attention into the release of everything, the release of all expectation, the release of memory, everything. Turn it all loose, the physical and the mental and the emotional bodies, all of those bodies. Let them go.
And I will count on you relaying anything to me that is absolutely important for me to know. Otherwise, I will trust I receive what I need.
All right. Had I known you couldn't hear, I would have repeated the words as they came to me. If that happens again, I'll do that so that we'll make sure you're included.
Thank you.
You see, Morton, what has happened here is the merging of the two energies, in that the channel became Anne, and the aspect essence of Anne spoke its desire through the channel.
Yes.
You see, it is important at this point for this beloved Anne to realize that within herself
it is important for Anne to realize
there is a burning desire
Good.
from her aspects. You see, the aspects that she consciously has focused her energy on the sharing of her knowledge, of her love, and of her understanding, wishes now to expand themselves, knowing then now their limitations, knows that they must now give over to another type of aspect, another type of experience, another type of expression. You see, they are quite adequate in their expressions, in her inner reacting on the conscious level with individuals, and has great effect in the work that she is doing. They now are aware of their limitations, not that they will discontinue to serve the purpose that they are fulfilling so adequately, but that they themselves are ready to step aside and to allow her in her development to bring in to the essence of her being another type of expression. They themselves are willing now and eager to stand aside and have this expression flow, for they will gain from this. It is only now for her to work in this area, to allow the dropping away of the thoughts, to focus on a subject matter, a question at this point that perhaps you could give her, some philosophical, religious question, some metaphysical question that would take and bring in to focus an analysis to be performed. Now, you see, if she begins then to speak from these aspects that have the opinions of the subject matter that you would ask the question of, you see, they themselves then will drop aside as the information begins to flow from the what you call the higher source, you see. So at this point, you asked her a question of metaphysical, philosophical significance to her, something that there is on the earth plane contradictions to, or she would be aware then of the two sides of the coin, and allow her then to have these aspects come forth with the opinions that they possess. And as they began to express these opinions, through the flow of this expression will be then the expanding of the idea, and then will begin the seeing, and will also then, you see, begin to be the automatic flow of what you call a channeling, the beginning of the focusing of the subject material moving out and beyond the aspective level. Now, we would have you to direct her in this area, and we will remain silent for this exercise. Thank you.
All right, very good. And you heard that, Anne?
Yes.
Okay, the question that is being given to me is one that I don't have the answer to. We are being taught that we are not only more than our physical bodies, as the affirmation says, but we are not our bodies. And the question would be in the form of, if I am not a body, what am I? Can you relate to that question?
Yes, and as I relate to it as not just you, but in the form of we.
Yes.
We are not our physical body. Our physical body has been created as a tool for this dimension, an adequate, more than adequate expression of form to allow that which we are, energy, consciousness, awareness, to travel, experience, create in this dimension of form, a connector to that which is the experience in form, as well as like a fingerling extension to a greater body, which is connected to a greater body.
It's like a like a journey that we are experiencing through the physical universe, and the nature of our minds is that we think, oh, where did I come from, and where am I going, and how does where I am or seem to be relate to that? Do you have a sense of that question?
As you use the words, where am I going, or where have I been, the sense within me was a sense of constancy, not of going, not of movement, but of a constancy. The image of the hand and the arm and the body expresses some of that well. Where the fingers move, it is still the palm of the hand that remains in a constancy and a connectedness to something more. So the fingers in their expression of doing are connected to the constant palm.
Yeah, that's a nice analogy. The relationship that we have to the physical, which is symbolized here in the palm and the fingers, but in thinking about the whole body, do you have a sense of how we are connected to the individual cells of the body? Can you talk about the organization that we represent in that fashion that seems to represent our prison? And
there is no prison, merely a thought of prison.
Yes, that that is an intellectual thing for me, and in terms of when I'm very silent and very quiet and very still, I get a sense of freedom from that. But in the moving around through the practical things of the day, the chores and the physical necessities of interaction, it feels very limited, and I don't know I don't know how to go about gaining the kind of control over this physical universe that the metaphysical teachers have been telling us is quite possible.
It is the joy of this experience, Martin, that is required. The delight in this expression. It is not limited in prison, merely in the thoughts of those who have not yet learned the expression of joy and delight and gratefulness in this journey. This is a special expression and dimension, as are others. And its fullest expression the paradox of the limit, to enjoy the perceived limits, for in that structure is an experience that cannot be experienced without structure. So by the very expression of its thought limit, one then knows the expression of the unlimited. So the boundaries give expression to that is boundless. And again and again and again, merely that design of teaching through the comparisons in this dimension. So delight in the so-called limit, for it is an expression of the limitless.
Yes, well, it's part of the human desire to want not only to be healthy and happy oneself in one's physical existence, but to encounter only health and happiness in those who are close to one in all of the relationships. And so I guess what I'm groping into here is what kind of a healing stance can one have that is not only beneficial to one's body, but will help to make disappear the encountering of unhappiness in the environment.
Even unhappiness is the opposite side of the expression of happiness. The duality expression, like the pendulum from one side to the other. More and more let go of one or the other and reside in that part of you in which you know peace and in which you know joy. The striving for one or the avoiding of the other continues the pendulum motion, continues the drama, continues the old patterning that is long remembered. That spot, that place, that knowingness in which movement, striving is not perceived, but is the place of connection to the isness, the beingness, the peacefulness of pure existence. Stop the pendulum in its movement, over and over and over. Just, if for nothing more than to practice for a moment in time where there is no movement and merely that peace you desire.
All right, that is, you're reminding me of the polarity of our existence and the opposites of all the concepts that we can form. seems to be a problem sometimes in holding the goal of peace and joy, because the polarity flips up the thought of misery and conflict. But you're saying that you can consciously take one end of that polarity, let's say joy being one end and misery the other, or peace one end and conflict the other, that we can focus on one end of the continuum?
No. There is no opposite in joy. Joy is the center, the place of the pause between the two opposites. It's like for a moment in time you step out of time. You step out of the duality and out of the opposites. That place has no opposite. It is as if for a moment time stands still and duality does not exist. There is no opposite in that pause. It's the practiced pause, many times found in meditation. It's the practice to go beyond the concepts and words, a willingness to stop thinking, maybe a willingness to drop into the darkness and the blackness. It's a willingness to pull back the energy of creation inside to that point where it just is, for a moment in time, out of time. A commitment for a moment to stop the drama, or of wanting one or rejecting the other. That place does exist.
Well, that's very encouraging. Yeah, very encouraging to contemplate. And I could speak to another dilemma of the human experience in here, which has to do with relationships. That one can do for oneself what you are describing, and yet find an absence of companionship or communication with one's peer group or one's the other. Is there a way out of that?
Spoke earlier. There is the possibility of delight in the expression in form. When we can delight in the conscious expression of others, we have started to delight in the expression of our own consciousness. In the delight of ourselves, in the relationship with ourselves. less and less need for expression, for acknowledgement, for approval is needed, so that the energy then is free for the enjoyment of all other expressions, with no convincing needed that their expression is in error or wrong, for it is not. It is the fullness of their consciousness expressed in form. And by watching, observing, delighting in that, the other conscious expression becomes a beauteous expression as a sunrise or a sunset. That celebration of other beings requires us to go past the judgment that is such a habit pattern of ours, thinking with our limited awareness we know what is best for God's expression.
Okay, that's very helpful. The strong desire that was vocalized in this session earlier, representing the aspect of Anne and the strong desire to share what is being given, what is being received for oneself, brings up this strong desire to share. What happens to this desire? Is it possible to give that desire up? Just simply say, no, I don't need that desire to share, I just want to receive?
Nature is a wondrous picture of our possibility. The sun shines. The response to the sun is individual. Sunburn, worship, praise, or ignoring. The sun merely is and it shines. So in one's expression, like the wind that blows, or the tree that manifests its leaves for its own process, we too share in every movement, in every expression of our beingness. It is an appreciation of our own ability to merely be and express that is first important. What we share is only that portion of our expression that is received. That's not expressed right. Our expression is always received. It is only when it is acknowledged in some way that we think that it is received. The picture is more like water running into a glass. The overflow, if collected in the bowl below, is then acknowledged by the bowl. but the overflow is always there, whether it is perceived or not, and perceived and responded to by another. So in the fullness that you are, that is your expression.
Very good. Thank you for that. This, as you were describing that, I was a memory came back of a previous session in which there was a description of the male and female energies that constitute a major perceivable example of the polarity of the physical world, positive, negative, and then the yin yang and the male female. Can you relate to how to cope with that in this process that you're describing?
As you spoke, I became lost in your words. Remembering that session, I do, but that's not where I wish to go.
All right.
In my expression and experience with you, my sense of expression that I want is to encourage you with the celebration of yourself. You have not yet celebrated the wondrous experience of being Martin, or whatever name you want to use to call this experience now. This experience of energy known as Martin is worth celebrating. That has not been a mode, a style of expression for you. There is a hook, a catch in the intellect that keeps you away from that celebration. It is a lie that you reinforce because of patternings. It serves you not at all. For in the celebration of who you are, walls fall down and the overflow to others is joyous.
Good. Thank you for that personal statement. It rings true for me. And yet, as I think of the concept of celebrate, it brings into my mind, imageries and pictures of activities, playful uses of the body, laughing, clapping, dancing, all of those things that there's no impulse in me to engage in such activities. But the notion of feeling like a celebrant is very appealing.
It is that center that I had spoke of earlier, in which the true celebration is created. And when that beingness, that isness, that silence, that peace, in that is the celebration. Its expression would be uniquely the expression of Martin and the comfort of Martin. For a celebration can be a smile, or it can be an inner knowing of all of the perfection of the design.
All right, I appreciate that also. The session is moving toward a possibility of termination pretty soon. Do you free associate to anything, or does anything come to you that you would like to add to this, or summarize, or tie it back to the beginning of the session in any way?
Seems so long ago.
Yes, no need to worry about that. Just whatever might come. Questions of your own. You seem in touch with a very good flowing energy. And I didn't want to cut that flow off.
No, one of the things I'm aware of is it can't be cut off. I guess it does go back to the beginning where I said I felt I didn't go anywhere, and yet I went somewhere very, very much. And in this expression this morning, it's new and not new. I had a sense, and I still feel very deep, and I'm surprised at how clear my voice is. I've had a sense before of connecting to really important, deeper kind of awarenesses. So the state is familiar, but the way it was expressed was through writing. So to be talking with you is a very new way of communicating.
Well, it certainly has been very clear, smooth. It could have well have been in written form as you spoke, as you're speaking.
I feel a removedness that is different. A sense of when I was speaking with you, it was only on a rare occasion that there was a check other than a flow, and that was nice.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, I wonder if you could just verbalize there and see if there is anything further from Marie or the friends. Could you ask that question for me?
Yes. I'm requesting from Marie and her energies, the friends, to support and help any more understanding that might be necessary for us all at this time.
To be going, I've been in a state of complete stillness, listening to Anne. It was like they were there ready to come in, but I was in this completely still physical and mental state, absorbing her words. When she asked for them to come back, it was just a state of knowing that there was no need to comment on this experience because it was successful, and that it should be left in this state without any other explanation for his self-exclamatory in what Anne is experiencing and what I am feeling.
Okay, well, I thank the friends and Marie, as I know you do, Anne.
Yes.
You might want to just focus for a moment on this state of consciousness where you are, like get an ident on it to make it easily available whenever you want it. You want to do that for a moment?
Yes.
Good. Now we'll turn the tape over now.
Okay.
Okay, you feel like you've got it there now?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And can you bring yourself back to a focus 10, or do you think you are there?
Oh, I think I'm at 10 already, and I can start moving, which will bring me back.
Okay. Would you like to do a countdown and a grounding signal?
Yes.
All right. I'll remind you, and I'll have you count out loud with me, and I'll remind you when we reach the count of 1 that you'll be fully in your body. There. Are you back?
Not completely. Of course, I don't know if I ever come back anymore like I did once.
Well, yes, I'll testify that you're back.
I'm back, okay.
You're here. And Marie is here.
Yes.
Well, any off-the-cuff reactions, responses?
Yeah, the first one is surprised that I could stay in that state as well as I did, being so doggone curious, because I didn't hear what friend had said or what you had said in the very beginning. And it was still just a sense of, on some level I knew, so that my ears and my intellect didn't have to be informed. Mm-hmm. That's a surprise. You know, with a curious intellect, how difficult that is.
Yeah, well, the quality of your voice, of course, sounded just like you. Your voice didn't change, but the delivery and flow and manner of speaking and so forth didn't sound like Anne talking. Mm-hmm. There was no like groping around for words and no uhs or ers or anything. It was just sort of did it feel smooth like that to you?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Actually, it felt smoother, not necessarily because of the delivery of words, but because of, like right now, I mean, there's a pause thinking about what's going to come next. I mean, there was that pause, whereas with that, there wasn't that pause. No. It was...
You weren't really aware of what you were going to say until you were saying it.
That's right. Yeah. That's a good description of it.
Well, it sounds like you can get in touch with that fairly easily. You probably do from time to time in your normal work. It's probably happened to you spontaneously when you do.
Yep, it's happened on occasion. Not an awful lot, because there isn't that opportunity.
Yeah.
I mean, the kind of questions that would come from aren't asked very often.
Do you ever give personal readings? You tried to anybody? Well, it felt like I was getting one.
Well, what I was laughing about was the comment that I had said to you, when you said you were here instead of Rita, and so my comment was, well, what are we going to do for you today, Martin? And then when that came in there, I thought, holy shit, that's what we said out there. With no sense to that comment, because that made no sense to me. I'm not that. I mean, I was over here for me, not you. I knew that.
Yeah, well, as you were doing it, I was thinking, well, I am sure that this is equally applicable to both of us.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever it is. I mean, this is without regard to the content. I was just like, I'm saying, whatever I'm being told now, but I suspect that this is being told to Anne and Martin both.
Anne Marie.
Anne Marie. Okay. Right, Anne Marie.
Well, it was a surprise and it was a wonderment, and I'm absolutely delighted. I don't know, I don't have any sense of anything more than this just happened, and I'm glad it did.
When you began to speak in the beginning, Marie, I couldn't quite hear the first few words that you said, but I think it was something like, "This is Anne," or
This same type of thing happened with Harold when we did that. So lay there and went into relaxation. Was the sensation of the bodies going together, and then there was the sensation, or this I was Anne. In other words, I have a picture of what I am, and I was all of a sudden her hair, her face, and I was Anne. And like I said, that's happened before, and then I feel like I've got something on my tongue. These emotions started coming in, and holding, it's just like holding this image that I was you, we were one, whatever. All this emotion started coming, and then was the desire to speak, and literally, I was trying not to speak. I don't know, whether Marie or Anne or what, but there was this struggle with that. Is this appropriate? But then the impression of this blonde hair, the whole thing. And so there was a struggle, and then the voice came through, and in essence what it was, as they had said, that they were Anne, it was Anne's, the emotions, the aspects, the desire for this expression has become, your aspects are so loaded with this desire for this expression that they're about to burst. And this is what, and I think friends explain this somewhat, but so far as the channeling, our quote, or saying, now I recognize what channeling is or whatever, there was a hesitancy in Anne speaking. So, and as to whether it was, quote, me, or because I was in Anne, I would say the whole thing was a projection of Anne. And it was quite emotional. It was almost like they were going to cry. That they wanted to, they've been given, it's like the command to do this, and the desire to do it. And now it's like, I'm going to do it one way or another, and it was almost like, please let me do it. But it was very, and it was a very emotional experience for me, in that I would say here is a group, because I think of aspects now as people, that say, we've got this job to do, and we got to do it, we don't know how to do it, please help us do it. That's all these poor things. Okay, come on here, we'll let you get your job. That's just... I don't really know...
well, your voice quality for you when you spoke was very low, but was very emotion-filled.
Yeah, it was... it was, I would say it was closely associated with the type of thing that had occurred when the Roy Sally thing was taking place, in the aspects of Frank. In other words, that would be the closest thing I could relate to what I was feeling, or as Anne, or what had happened, because it is not a loss of identity, it's a merging. of identity. I mean, I didn't lose myself when that is a very neat, the first time it ever occurred to me, literally being someone else and their structure over me, over Harold. You know, here's Harold. What's Harold doing in my head? You know? I mean, really, that is quite a sensation, and that's what occurred.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll come out on the tape, but it probably will. That there's the quality of the voice speaking as you through her.
Ah.
It was very low. It had this, deep desire to share what's been given to me. But there's a hallowed, almost like a sanctified quality to the voice, like the kind of voice you would use in the presence of angels, right? Which sounds like to me like aspective. Mm-hmm. It's like the minister who's got the word, not one of those loudmouth guys, but the guy that's just so wants to give it to somebody. And I don't know what to make of that. I'm just interpreting my response to the voice.
Well, I think it's very descriptive of what. I mean, as you're describing it, I'm aware of it in hindsight, that there is that part of me that, has the sense that I've tapped into something that's not just ordinary, and I'd use more, and would like to have an avenue of its expression, but I don't have it. I don't know the form. And I've thought of writing, and sometimes I can spontaneously write from that level. In fact, I wrote a 16-page letter to someone, and I knew it wasn't for them. I mean, it was my expression that needed to be expressed. But I didn't know what else to do with it, because it started as dear friend. So, yeah, that's there.
Okay, well, that's good. We got all of our spontaneous responses debriefed.